Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Sorry I skipped one video, but let's start again. So today we're going to start with exception handling. Okay, now that we've covered so many topics, let's just cover this to handle all the errors that might happen during the execution of the code. Okay, so what is exception handling? Before moving on to what is exception handling, let's see what are errors, different types of error. We know that there can be errors in the code that we write, right? So what are the different types of error that can occur? Okay, the first one is compile time error. We can also call them syntax error. Okay, so we know what syntax error is, right? To understand this, let me just write a basic. We know what the correct syntax of print is, right? We have to write put in quotes, right? I'm going to just put a single quote and write error. Okay, now if I run this code, it is giving me an error. This is syntax error. So this is compile time error because the code did not get executed because it was not converted. Okay, so the compiler didn't understand what was written, right? It is not the language that it understands, right? So that is compile time error, the error in which the code that we write is incorrect, the syntax is incorrect. Okay, next is runtime error. This is something that happens when we execute the code. After the conversion, when we execute the code, then when an error occurs, it is called runtime error. We call the runtime errors as exception also. Okay, so let's just see. Let me give okay. So can you spot an error in this? The error in this one is I have not defined B. Okay, so it can be converted, it can be converted into bytecode, but it won't be executed because we do not have B. See, name error. See the name, it's the name error. Okay, suppose I do this and I do this. Okay, let me just do it in another file, another cell, sorry. Now see, the error name is different, but it is also runtime error. It is zero division error. We cannot divide any number by zero, right? So this is the error. It was name error because we did not have any B variable. In this we have B variable, but it is zero division error. So these are runtime error. And the name of error also we can see. We've seen three errors, right? Three name of the error: syntax error, name error, and zero division error. Right? Syntax error was compile time, and these two were runtime. Moving on, we have third type of error, which is semantic error, also called logical errors. Here it will pass through the runtime and the compile time. It will give the output also, but we won't be satisfied with the output. Okay. Let's take an example. Okay, so I want to divide A by B. Okay, so what I should do was this, right? But if I do this, if I interchange the place, so this is logical error. This is the place where we did logical error. How? We change the place, which is the incorrect part here. So in logical errors, the code is perfectly fine, the syntax is perfectly fine, conversion is okay, execution is also okay, but the result that we desire is not what we get due to human errors. And this is really hard to debug because here the error is shown to us that okay, this is the error, okay, this is the error. Here we don't know what error is, but our answer is wrong, right? The error was the places should be interchanged, right? So this is semantic errors are the most difficult errors to debug. Okay, but exception handling, let's move on to exception handling. Exception handling is something that we do for runtime errors. Okay, not for compile, not for semantic, but runtime errors. Okay, So exception handling in Python helps us to handle the runtime error. Instead of letting these, because see, the execution of the code stopped, right, because of the runtime error. So if we don't want to, this is only one cell, right? We have a we write huge codes for the programs that we use in real life. If there we occur some error like this, it would cause our program to stop. We don't want that, right? Wherever the error is, we have to handle that, right? And let the other part of the code run as it is running. Okay, it should not, the error in one part of the code should not affect the execution of the entire program file. Okay, for that purpose we use exception handling for runtime errors. Okay, there's one more thing that we should remember, that is, if compile time error occurs when exceptions are handled, okay, anything written in that code is not executed. Okay, we'll see that with example. Okay, I hope this much is clear. This is the basic foundation for exception handling. Okay. Okay. So here we saw the runtime error, right? Let me just copy this code, and now we're going to try it using the exception handling. So what we do in exception handling is we use this keyword try, and here we put in the code that we want to execute. Okay. I'm going to quickly put in the code. Okay, this is the code that we want the compiler to run. Okay, so it is going to try to execute this. If any error occurs, what it is going to do, it is going to say error. Okay, simply this much. We can do anything we want here, but right now I'm just telling you that we'll just print something. Okay, otherwise there are means we can change, we can handle the error, right? Like how to correct it or how to make sure. Usually it is done with the databases and all that, right? We haven't come that far, so right now we can just use the print one to handle the error so that the code is run smoothly, right? Now see, we know that this code has problems, right? It has zero division error. Okay, see, so it did not run. Why? Because it had zero division error. Okay, now what we can do is, this except is of two type. Okay, this is try block, in which the code is run sequentially. Okay, for there can only be one try block, and for every try block there must be at least one except. Okay, so try block can only be one, and it should have at least one except, right? So let's, except is of two type. Okay, first one we've done, that is generic. Generic means we can use, let me write another specific one. Okay, what was the error that came here? It was zero division error, right? So we can do one more thing. We can simply write the name of the error, and then we can print. So what will happen, whenever the error of this sort will happen, it is going to jump to the except which handles this error and do whatever is written in that block of code. Okay, so see, this is what has been done. Okay, right? So zero division error, if we happen, then it moves to the except zero division error block, right? Now let us suppose I put in this code also. We already have A, right? Let me just write a new piece of code where we don't have. Okay, this is the new code I've written, and here why we haven't defined, right? So this is what name error. We saw it, right? This is the name error. So in which block of code will the code go? In this one or this one? And all or would it print both of this? Okay, let's see. It is only going to print the generic one. Why? Because it won't move to the zero division error. It won't run after this. Alright? It is going to stop here because the error has occurred. Okay? If I change the order, okay? Now see. Now that I changed the error, zero division error was first, right? So this part is printed. The generic part is not. The specific part is printed. Alright? So when an error occurs, the execution of the try block is eliminated. Okay. Now we also have one more thing. We have two more things in this syntax. Okay. First of all, we can have multiple, what do we call, errors in specific exception. This is specific, right? We specify what different errors to deal and how to deal those, right? I'm going to change the, see, this part has executed because the name error was the first here, right? And I entered the name error in the specific exception. Okay, now what we have to do is, okay, so we move on to the except part when this is not executed. Suppose when the try block is executed, what do we do then? Okay, let's see. If the try block is executed and I want to know that whether the try block has been executed or not, what I can do is I can use else. Okay, else no error. Okay, so let me just comment this part and make this 10. See, no error. The try block was executed, so no error. Okay, the order has to be this way only. First the try, then the except specific, then the except generic, then else, and after that we have one more thing. If that is something that is going to run whether the code is executed or the code has issues. Okay, that is called finally. So usually we use it to shut down or come out of the databases, come out of the files, close the files, all that stuff. We use that for that we use finally, but we haven't done file handling as of now, so we're simply going to say completed. Okay, simply that we've reached the finally stage. Okay, that is what we're going to do. Although this is not the proper use of finally, it is usually used to handle the files, to close the files after the whole process has been done. But to understand we're just understanding the working of the syntax and how exception handling works. When we do file handling, we're going to cover how this is used there. Okay, so see, no error and completed. So this is something that is going to be executed every single time. The rest everything is conditional. If this is going to run, then else block is going to run. If this won't run, then this is going to run, either of these. Okay, so this was exception handling, very easy topic. We're going to understand more about it. We're going to use it very often, and in file handling we're going to see the proper use of finally, because by then we're going to know how to open the files, how to close the files. So that was exception handling. If you have any doubt, just let me know, comment down, and thank you so much.